Okay, this video is about blood typing, and you will fill out your blood typing worksheet as I talk, okay? First thing that you need to know a little bit about is that the makeup of your blood, and this is already at the top, so you don't have to write this down, but the makeup of your blood is 55% plasma, which is mostly water, and then you have these little solids that float around in there. So you have red blood cells, which we'll call those RBCs, white blood cells, which are WBCs, and then you have like platelets, which are the blood clotting factors, and also antibodies, okay, and antigens. And so we're going to talk about that. So let's talk about the four main blood types that we're going to be dealing with, okay? So this is where you start filling it in. You have blood type A, there's blood type B, there's AB, and there's O. Okay, and so just like we have been talking about this week, there's dominant and recessive traits. Well, in the blood world, A and B are called co-dominant. There's not one that's dominant over the other. So that's why you get this type AB blood, because you have A's and B's, so you get AB blood. And we'll talk a little bit more about this in a second. There's also type O blood, and type O blood is recessive, although it's one of the most common blood types. About 35% of the people in the United States have type O blood, and it's O positive, and we'll talk about those positive, negative factors in a few minutes. Okay, so here we go. Let's talk about this. When you have type A blood, you basically, on your red blood cell, you have a little protein, and we call it an antigen. And for purposes of our notes, we're just going to say that antigen looks like little A's. Now, it doesn't really look like little A's, but it's a little protein that's on your red blood cells, and it's easily identified. When you have type A antigens on your red blood cells, then inside your blood, in the plasma, you make antibodies against B's. So you make B antibodies, because your blood, that your genetics has talked about what you want, does not want to see any B's in there. You can only have the A antigens, okay? So if you have type B blood, then on your red blood cells, you're going to have little B's. Again, they don't really look like B's, but for purposes of our notes, that's what we're going to call them. If you have type AB blood, then on your red blood cells, you have both A's and B's. So we'll put A's and B's on that one. Okay, and if you have type O blood, you don't have any protein markers on your red blood cells. They're just smooth little red blood cells, okay? So there's no protein markers, and we call that type O blood. All right, so just like I was talking about over here in the antibodies in your plasma, if you have type A blood, well, then you're going to make antibodies against B. If you have type B blood, then hopefully you might be able to guess this, you would make antibodies against A. If you have type AB blood, and there's little A's and B's on your red blood cells, then you do not make any antibodies. So there's no antibodies in there. You can accept A's and B's. But if you have type O blood, then you make antibodies against both A and B. Okay? Now, we're going to wait on this part right here, on this section where you can receive blood from and donate to. We're going to wait on that and come back to it, because I want to go back over here and I want to fill out the genotypes, because as you all know, you get half of your alleles for genes from your mom, and you get half from dad, and they have blood types. So for genotype for type A blood, your mom or dad may have given you a type A, and the other one may have given you a type A. So you would have type A blood. This would be called type A homozygous, okay? This would be homozygous. Because, and you'll need to write this out to the side of your notes, okay? You'll have to write it out here. You don't have to write homozygous every time, but I just wanted to show you that homozygous means that they're the same, so that's what you're seeing right here. Now, you could also be a type A heterozygous. That would look like this. You might have gotten an A from one of your parents, and remember A is dominant, and then you might have gotten an O from one of your parents. An O is recessive. This would be heterozygous. You do not have to write those, but I just wanted to show you, okay? So same goes for B. You might get a B from one of your parents. Maybe the other parent also gave you a B. So you would be type B homozygous. But if maybe mom gave you a B and dad gave you an O, okay? So if you have a B and an O, then that would be heterozygous. That would be a heterozygous blood type. So you say, okay, well, what if one gives you an A and one gives you a B? Well, that's easy, because then you have type A, B blood. So you have an A and a B, you get type AB blood. The only way for you to get type O blood is to get 2 recessive O's, one from each parent. And we'll work on some Punnett squares over these here in a minute. Okay, so if you'll remember, type A and type B are called, just ignore that, co-dominant. If you get an A and a B, they share dominancy, okay? One doesn't, it's not stronger than the other. You just get both A's and B's on your red blood cells, okay? All right, so let's go back over here to the who you can receive blood from, okay? If you are a type A, well, you can definitely receive from type A people, okay? You have type A blood. But you can also receive from O, because as you can see, if you look over here, O's don't have any antigens. So when you have type A, then you only make antibodies against B. So you would be just fine to get type O. However, if you tried to put B's in there, or AB blood, then this little antibody, an antibody means that it doesn't want it in your body, okay? So this guy right here that your A blood makes would say, it would start to latch on to that B, and it would start to clump, and then you would get a blood clot. So you could literally die from having the wrong type of blood. And anytime you would need a blood transfusion would be like, you know, if you were having surgery, or if you were in an accident and you were in the ER. So, you know, this isn't something that, you know, happens very often, but just in case it does, they always test. All right, so here's type B blood. There's, you got all your little B's on there. And the antibodies in type B are A. So you can obviously get blood from B, and again, you can get it from O for the same reasons that we talked about with A. Can't get AB blood though, because it has that A on there, so that would make that type B blood clot. If you're type AB blood, well, you don't make any antibodies, so you can get blood from A, B, AB,
Oh, is this the answers?
and O. I'm filming right now, Callie, so if you could step over to the side.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. Type AB blood is called the universal receiver. It can receive blood from all the blood types. Now type O, which does not have any markers, protein markers on it, and it makes antibodies against both A and B, it can only receive blood from itself. Okay? So let's go to this last one. Who can type A donate to? Okay, well, think easy. They can obviously go to themselves, but type A can also go to type AB blood. You can give AB blood, like we talked about down here. They can receive from anybody. Same thing with B. B can go to itself, and it can also go to AB. AB blood, it can only go to itself. It cannot go to B, it cannot go to A, and it cannot go to O, because those have markers against the other ones, okay? We'll talk more about this in class if you're confused. Type O blood. It's called the universal donor, okay? It can go to A, it can go to B, it can go to AB, and it can go to O. Okay? So, that's the blood typing worksheet. You should be able to fill all this out. And if you don't understand it, don't worry too much. We're going to talk about it. But what I want to do now is I want to do a couple of Punnett squares involving blood typing. So, really quickly, we'll do a couple of easy ones, and you'll be doing more of these in class tomorrow. So, let's look at a Punnett square involving blood types. Let's say you are type A heterozygous is the mom, okay? So heterozygous type A is AO, okay? And let's say dad is homozygous type B. So he will have this. Okay, you do the same thing as you would with Punnett squares that we did in class. You would just bring it over. Now type O is recessive, so it'll always go second, okay? So we'll look at this. If you look at it, you're going to have 50% chance that your child could have type AB blood, okay? And there is a 50% chance that they will have type B blood. And what you have to look at here is when we talk about genotypes, genotypes are the two genes that you get from your parents, and the phenotype, which we can't see your blood, but your phenotypes for blood typing is, you would say, type A, type B, type AB, or type O. So these are called the genotypes right here. Okay? So, is there a chance that a person, two parents with type A blood, could they have a child with type O blood? What do you guys think? Is it possible for a kid with, or is it possible with two parents with type A blood? Could they have a child with type O? They're saying yes. No. Oh, we had one no. Let's find out. Yes. Here's a mom with type A. Okay, she's got AO blood because she is heterozygous, which since A is dominant, she has type A blood.
I'd like
but
okay.
We'll do the same for the dad. Okay, let's see what this gives us. There is a 25% chance that your child could have type O blood. Okay? Then it's a 25% chance type A. Well, actually, it's a 75% chance type A. We'll be doing lots more of these tomorrow in class. So hopefully you kind of understand it. And just be sure and look over your notes again. You're done.